Nice to meet you, Mr. Daffy.
Nice to
And
meet
what's your name?
Kevin Gibbon.
Nice to meet you, Mr. Good. Alrighty, once again, thank you for coming. Before we start, I'd like to ask both of you if you are committed to the mediation process and hopefully figuring out a resolution. Are both of you committed?
Yeah.
Okay. Now let's begin. So usually we designate anywhere from 2 to 4 hours to mediation. Is 2 hours long enough for both of you?
Absolutely.
Sure, sure. Alright, well, I'll start off by describing the purpose of mediation, and it's to work out a mutual agreement, both of y'all. I'm only here to guide the process, which will pretty much be me asking both of y'all questions about the situation, and then hopefully finding some issues that we can both agree on, and then afterwards we'll try to come up with some resolutions. Um, so, before we go any further, I'd like to read this confidentiality form, and hopefully if you both agree, you will sign and date it. Alright, number 1, I agree that everything that's said at Mountain Mediation Services is completely confidential, intended for use only as settlement discussion, and cannot be used by the DA or the courts for any purpose. I understand the exception of this rule of confidentiality concerns any information relating to child abuse, neglect, and or abuse of disabled adults, which by law cannot be held confidential. 2, I agree that I will not hold Mountain Mediation Services responsible for any agreements made or the failure to reach any agreement during mediation. I further agree that I will not involve Mountain Mediation Services, the mediators, employees, staff, board of directors, volunteers, or records of Mountain Mediation Services in any way in any claim or court proceeding. 3, I agree and acknowledge the Mountain Mediation Services gives no opinion regarding the legal effect of this consent to mediation or any agreement or resolution that is reached as a result of mediations. 4, I agree that if a question of legal rights should arise, the party or parties seeking information and or advice should seek that information and or advice from an attorney of their choice. 5, and finally, I understand that weapons and physical conflict are not permitted at Mountain Mediation Services. I agree to abide by this policy. I also understand that Mountain Mediation Services retains the right to report any crimes committed on the premises. Will you please sign this, Mr. Decker?
Yes.
And David. Will you please sign and date this, Mr. Goodman? Thank you. Alrighty. Now, we may go to a caucus during the process, which is pretty much I'll speak to one of you confidentially for a certain amount of time, and then the other respected person for another period of time, which will hopefully be about the same amount of time, so I can get anything that I feel is missing that I need to know about that would help you in any way. Next, I just want to let y'all know my role of mediation is to be completely neutral. If you feel at any time that I'm biased in any way, then I'd like you to let me know so we can figure out a future date and possible mediator that you feel would be better suitable. I may be taking notes, and all this is me trying to help myself stay kept up with the situation. If you all take notes at all, you can do the same, but the process goes that all notes will be discarded of at the end of the periods, just to keep a confidential manner. Everything here will be confidential and never used outside of this meeting that we're having right now. So I'm going to set some ground rules, and if y'all have any that you're aware of that you think will help us get through this quicker and in a better manner, just let me know. First of all, we'll be respecting each other. Also, if you have a cell phone, do either of y'all have your cell phones with you?
I do not have my cell phone. I have one.
Okay, well, I'd like for you to turn it off and set it up on the table. Thank you. Pretty much speak to me instead of to each other initially. If we get to a point in the mediation that I feel it's acceptable that you may speak to one another, I'll let you know, and you can use that. But until then, I want you always to speak to me. Also, no smoking in the room. Next, we'll go to which one of y'all will be going first. Who's the plaintiff? Who brought the case in this situation? You did? Alright. We'll have you go first. Before you go first, do either of y'all have any questions?
I don't think so.
Alright. Well, let's begin this mediation.